So this will record to your cloud, they'll say. Great. We're here. Welcome. We are a group of professionals who have been working using the Theory U case clinic structure for over 5 years, or almost 5 years. And today we just wanted to do a little bit of a reflection and retrospective to explore why we're still here, what we find compelling about this group. None of us have to be here. So this is an elective group we created and committed to for years. And so we wanted to give maybe the rest of our peers or our ecosystem a chance to see how we come together, why we do it, what we're doing, and how this might be useful to other parts of our community. Yeah, are there any other like words of opening just want to extend to all of you?
I would add the frequency that we meet. We meet maybe every 3 weeks or every month. Is that how it's happening?
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, we've been meeting almost every month since
Yeah.
we all started an online course together called Theory U back in the beginning of lockdown. So yeah, just want to invite all of you into the circle and ask, what is this thing? Can we describe it for the people that are watching? Why do the five of us come onto Zoom once a month for about 90 minutes, even though we're not getting paid for it and we're not part of some religious group together? And, we don't have any other sort of commitments to each other except to be here in this space. So, yeah, let's tell everyone watching a little more about why we're here.
Thank you, Meg. And I think maybe Sarko can begin sharing our origins. Sarko, are you available for that?
Sure. The origins, go back to the fall of 2020 and the ULAP 1 course that we all took, however we took it. And I think I met Meg online, and never in person still, that summer in a building belonging, cohort. And then we both discovered that we're going to be taking this in the fall in September. And then I already knew Claudia and Dulce from a different space, and I forget how they kind of got involved into the ULAB, or whether independently or whether I had mentioned that. And since a core part of the course is to form a coaching circle using a tool called Case Clinic, starting from September. However that happens, the four of us with Mac, Claudia, and Dulce formed such a coaching circle, and shortly thereafter, Dulce invited Akari to join the circle, and that's how we constituted ourselves in this environment without like a long-term agenda or commitment, just as part of the course, and we just kept going along, obviously many years after the course was officially over.
Precisely like that. And I also want to add, like, it was after maybe 1 or 2 years, I think maybe after 1 year is that we were still thinking, are we going to continue with this? And there was that transition when are we going to still meet every month, at least for the next year? And every year kind of we renew the commitment. And in that first year, I think is when I thought, if we're going to continue, maybe I can add another friend. And is when I asked Akari to join the circle. And then since then, we have Akari with us, and she has brought a lot of value to our conversations.
True. And I would like to add, just to explain a little bit what this is. So a case clinic is a session that takes about 1 hour and a half. We always have to have a case giver. Sometimes the case giver is, I mean, self-selects before the events, and it could also be done during the session itself. But the way, I mean, just to summarize how it happens is that we start the session, we choose someone to take time. We choose someone to ease us into the session, usually doing a warm up. We like to do like a grounding exercise to be present. Then the case giver starts just stating the case. And he or she has 15 minutes for that. And that's about, there is a structure for that. I mean, Meg will share the link later. But what happens is that this person talks about the current situation, or meaning the challenge and the questions about the case itself, the stakeholders that are involved in the situation. What is it that you want to create, your intention, what future you're trying to create? The threshold, which is what is it that you want to let go of, and what is it that you need help with. While the case giver is just presenting the case, the coaches are listening. We just, don't ask questions, but just stay that listening. After this 15 minutes, when then we do have a time for the others to ask clarifying questions. And then we go into 3 minutes of stillness. I mean, we usually meet online, so we just turn off our cameras and we go into stillness, trying to evoke what images comes out to us from everything that we heard, or what emotions surface. It's not about giving advice, it's about resonating, becoming like a mirror for everything that we heard. And then after these 3 minutes, we come back together and we have 10 minutes for a session that is actually called mirroring, meaning each one of the coaches shares the images, the emotions that came up while the case giver was sharing. And then there's time for the case giver to react to that, and we go into generative dialogue. We just dive into this generative dialogue phase, which becomes sometimes just, I experienced something similar, or no, this is something completely new to me, or sometimes there is a little bit of advice giving, but a lot of clarity comes into this generative dialogue piece, and then we go to the closing remarks.
I really appreciate you stepping through all of that, Claudia, because the idea is for people that have never done something like this before, you're meeting up with a group of strangers. The only thing you have in common is you're all working, and you probably all have issues at work, like challenges, like things that drive you crazy. And sometimes you can't talk to your coworkers about it, but you want to be able to kind of trust the people that you're saying all these vulnerable things to. Like Claudia, you're talking about people bringing their cases in. Like these are their really hairy issues that we're bringing into the group, stuff that might be about like our boss, or it might be just about a problem we're having in a project, or it might be like a conflict we're having with stakeholders or our peers, or like I think for a lot of us it's been about like family stuff, like things that encroach on our work that we have to deal with. Or I think because our group was born during lockdown, there were definitely a lot of um, like disorienting situations that we had to deal with in the first couple years that I think helped us gain trust. Like I feel like if we ask the question, why are we still here doing this for each other? For me, it's because um, I feel like I can tell all of you anything. You're like this shadow team for me. Even though you're not the team I show up and work with every day, I still show up because I feel like I can be really vulnerable here, and I can tell you guys the things, and I know that, as Claudia was saying, you'll mirror it back to me in a really safe way. Um, Curious for all of you, like yeah, why are we still here this many years later? What feels good? What still feels good about it?
I feel like jumping in. I think for me, this is like my chosen family. And it has been very different from whatever I have lived in terms of friendship relationships, because we meet, we talk all the time, as you said, Meg, from a place of vulnerability. And also there is a lot of love when we show up in that way in this group. And I I have never found something like this in what is very interesting for me is also that it's virtual. I don't know you met in person. I know all the others in person and we have different connections, but I was sharing with Claudia, you are one of those fantastical creatures that I wanted to meet in this world, and you are part of this group. So that's why I'm here, because we are all kind of, for me, like connecting in a way that I haven't connected before with someone else.
I think for me, it's part therapy, part connection, part kind of regrounding to like what it means to be human, honestly. You know, because being human, in the end, I mean, not to, okay, not to be preachy here, but it's like boils down to like connecting with others, being social creatures, like, you know, and helping each other out, right? That just like we are together and we're doing things together and we're interacting, and ideally we're helping each other out and not trying to like kill us. And so this space is about connection and it's about helping each other out. And what's even more special, that we're able to forge deeper connections, more meaningful connections than in 99% of other spaces that, at least while speaking for myself, that I'm part of. And part of it is like, huh? Like what? Like part of it is so surprising, but part of it is like, oh, actually, no, there's nothing surprising about it. Because of like, you know, the intentionality behind it. There's, of course, credit to the structure itself and to the guiding questions. But it's really like, if a group of people comes in with a strong intention and with a sort of like a sense of like, you know, we're here to learn, we're here to grow together. Like it's a space for like that reflection, processing, sharing stuff you wouldn't share anywhere else, also as well. And we all need that kind of space. And like, I think a couple of you hinted, like, actually, I mean, you know, those who said like chosen family, yeah, to my real family or part of it, like some of this stuff like would just never come up or just won't be it wouldn't feel like the appropriate place, you know, for it. So it's kind of carving out something special, something that's in between these other spheres of life that we inhabit by virtue of being like adult professionals in the 21st century.
I love thinking that we're adult professionals. Yeah, Akari, like, do you have any, do you have any thoughts on this?
Actually, further to that, I was thinking that what makes it so unique is that we always arrive with the intention of wanting to grow as a person. And I agree with everything that has been said so far, which is basically just kind of giving ourselves completely to the case giver or, anybody in that circle. It's a space of connection and really giving with no kind of intent, any other intention than just simply wanting to support and give to each other. And I find that whether I'm a case giver or a coach, we're always learning from everything that's happening, which I find really, I don't find it anywhere else, really. It's a very unique way that we have been able to operate, I think.
Yeah, Claudia, I want to hear your response to this. And also it almost seems like we're segueing into like why is this so magical? So yeah, Claudia, whatever comes up for you around those two.
Yeah, thank you, Meg. Um, I wanted to say that, I mean, I echo everything that everybody said. And I think in a very simple way, why do I keep showing up? It's because I want to. It's because it feels very good. And it's funny because in the beginning, okay, we applied the methodology, it worked very well. Each one of us presented a case and then another case. And then I had this feeling of, okay, then so what? What happens next? That's what happened to me. I guess I brought that from, so many other environments that you are results oriented. You want to see like an outcome. What's the outcome of all of this? And and today I see that, I mean, I don't want anything out of it except for exactly what we have. It's almost like it's about when you're meditating, it's about being in it and it's not about doing. Yeah, we are here to grow as human beings, like Akari was saying, but it at least for me right now, it's not about a search for any progress. I mean, it's being present with whatever is present at that moment. And the cases, they become to repeat themselves. They become to, and at one point I felt like kind of ashamed saying, okay, am I going to say this case again? It feels like I'm always saying the same thing. But at one point, there are so many nuances, and the little nuances are good enough. So yeah, we show up for each other and we are present for each other. We can create this container, this environment in which we are seen, we are heard, and it's wonderful.
Can I go with what is magical?
Yeah, those
It's just that I felt so inspired after Claudia talking. I really think that for me, this group is kind of like, even when it seems that we're repeating ourselves, yes and no. Because what I feel it happens is, I mean, at least I don't know how it's for everyone in this room, right? But for me, I know I'm growing, and I know I'm growing for many factors, but also because of this. And this is one of my strongest supports. And when I'm repeating maybe something that was remaining from a case, what I'm understanding is that we are evolving beings and we might be dealing with the same thing over and over and over again. But every time it's presented, we kind of grow in a spiral. And I kind of feel this group makes me remember the Fibonacci structure that you find everywhere in nature, where it's a series, the Fibonacci is a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones. So I always see how we are like going like this, growing together. And that metaphor just came to me while Claudia was talking. That's why it's so magical for me.
wow. That's so cool. Um, I agree. It feels like there's a cumulative effect. No matter how many times we have similar conversations, it's building and growing. And your share just now, they'll say, reminded me that one thing I've seen just over the course of our time is how much you've grown in relationship to your work, like going from like a place of worry a lot to a place where you're fully in your authority and you're taking control of things and you're doing things that um I don't think you would have felt prepared to do when we first started um talking. And I think that's true for all of us. I'm just noticing, like, I specifically remember challenges that you've brought into the circle from work, where you felt like you weren't in a place of power. And I've really seen you step more into power, your own personal power, so much, and not, and same with you, Akari, and like not letting yourselves be victimized by the workplace. And I just also want to reflect in terms of magic that um, it's not a small thing that we started this during the first Trump term, honestly. Um, all, you know, we are all from different countries. We are literally representing Brazil, Mexico, Japan, Bulgaria, all kinds of places, Spain, the US, all kinds of places. And for us to come together in circle and discuss our problems and our challenges in common and also our successes in common, I feel is like the perfect antithesis to like what we're seeing play out in the world right now, which is like immigrants are bad, immigrants can't work with each other, like what, or just all the crazy stuff that's part of the narrative right now. And we're like a counterexample to all of that. We've like come from completely different backgrounds to say what are all the things we have in common and how can we create community for one another, even though we're all in different time zones, different cities, come from different cultures. So I'm really proud of us. I feel like the magic here is that we're showing that anyone can do this from anywhere. We do not have to be from the same backgrounds. We do not have to have a ton in common. And just like the power of that connection, like Akari was saying before about connection, that it's so it like infects every part of our lives, that like being able to come and feel connected like that. Um, yeah, just yeah. Is there anything else anyone wants to surface about the magic here and why it's so important, like right in this time? Because I feel like we were preparing ourselves for this moment and didn't know it.
One
Maybe
of
I'll
the
come in and
things
say,
that,
oh,
sorry, go
Akari, go ahead.
ahead.
No,
So,
no, Akari, go.
thanks. So one of the things that, so Dulce and I had dinner, I can't quite remember, maybe a month or two ago. And we were talking exactly about this. And one of the things that we discussed, Dulce, please jump in, is that nobody in this circle is kind of jumping in to give advice from kind of, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Nobody does it. And it really takes a lot of discipline for, you know, people to not do that when faced with, when you're with somebody who needs advice, suggestions or whatever, having problems. And I think a lot of us are in a workplace where that sort of thing is seen as a very positive thing, to form opinions immediately and then kind of share that and look very intelligent and determined or whatever, certain. And we just don't do that. And that has been one of the things that I think every one of us just feels so supported, and that we're, you know, despite being from different cultures and having really different backgrounds, that really is so important, I think, in a circle like this, where we don't feel patronized, or you know what I mean? It maybe patronizing is not the right word, but it just is it's a group where each one of us is in service of each other.
That is true. And Karina, just because you invited me to jump in and we had this long conversation about how magical our group was, I also want to say we thought that night the main ingredient of this group is compassion. I think more than knowledge, what we have for each other is compassion and shared experiences. I mean, we always empathize with each other, maybe not from the same exact situation, but we try to remember what in my life kind of feels similar in the way you are feeling. And from that place, whatever advice comes as an advice, it comes from a place of a lot of love, because the one who's giving advice is also vulnerable. It's also saying, I've been there and I don't know if I did well. This is what I did. Take it or leave it. It's up to you.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Claudia, what's coming up? Do you have something coming up?
Zarko is wants to
Oh
say
yeah, Zarko was like itching, sorry.
No. Um, um, I'm trying to speak for myself and not to sort of generalize, but I think in this space, and this is only occurring to me now, or like both of what I'm saying. Like I feel more connected to myself than in most other spaces. Like if there's such a thing as like the real me. I mean, I don't believe in like the real me as like, oh, this is me and this is not me. But like out of the many parts, you know, that I'm composed of, like I feel like the parts that show up here in this space are especially precious. And it's also the space where I feel most outside of myself. And what I mean by that is that what I mean by that is that in this space, you know, sometimes it feels like, you know, what is coming up, it's a conduit of sort of like the field of like, it's like like we're channeling the group, like we're not speaking from ourselves like, oh, I noticed this, or I mean we are speaking like this, but like in speaking like that we're actually channeling like a special energy that gets created when 5 people in this case kind of come together into this immersive experience and keep doing it for a long while. Like there's almost like this and it's not like a like one moment, oh, I'm myself, and the next moment, oh wait, I'm no longer myself, I'm outside of myself, I'm a conduit. It's a very blurred, you know, experience. But if I were to, like, I wouldn't know it at the time as it's happening, but if I were to think back, I'm like, wait a minute, like I feel like you know, we were channeling something else. It wasn't coming from like the self, it was coming from like well, from the center, from a special place, you know, that gets created when our individual energies so basically kind of merge and create their own patterns, right? So that's maybe a bit meta, but you know.
Can I bring a little bit of theory? I think this is precisely what Otto Schammer says in Theory U, that you become like more like the channel of what wants to be born, and that you are part of the bigger ecosystem. So and it's so egoless, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, when you are immersed in an experience like this. He would be very proud of us now.
Yeah, like it strips away our performance. Like we're so in it we're in the flow with each other. We don't have to perform some way of being, or maybe even ways we don't realize we perform at work, like, or in the work context where we have to have like a certain gloss or a certain professionalism or a certain the defense, right? And here we can let down our armor, um, and yeah, talk about what's happening inside us because of what's outside us.
You know, I was going, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No.
I was going to say, one of the things I was, the words that came to my mind earlier was, I arrive here and completely shift gears. And that was going to be like one of the questions that I was going to ask, if anyone joins and then kind of become a different person. And then for me, I felt like it was becoming more myself. I'm able to be myself in this group. But then after hearing what Zarko said, yeah, I think we channel the group. We're like, I don't know, one entity, and then we kind of become part of it. Maybe not about being myself individually, but becoming part of a bigger, something bigger.
Yeah, that was the same thing that I was going to say. I mean, just yeah, building on that and what Meg said, that we live in different places. I mean, even geographically, we are far away. So, of course, our challenges and our way of thinking is different because of who we are individually, but also because of the environment in which we are in. So when we meet, we are exposed to the lives and the realities of all the other four of us, and that changes us. I remember, for example, a few months ago when we met, and California was going through the fires, and we could, I was in Brazil at that time. We would hear it a little bit. It would come up, I mean, in the news, but I had no idea about what is it that people were actually going through that. And then, I mean, through Meg's testimonial and experience, you get to live that. So yeah, it becomes this shared experience, which is, I mean, something that I wouldn't have if I didn't have this group.
Yeah, and who knew we would be going through such historic times? Like, also, it's really intriguing to me that, we came together in a pandemic, and now all kinds of other things are unfolding. Like, this 5 years has been a very unusual 5 years, probably for all of us and for the world. So it also feels to me like an incredible gift, a timely gift. Like, we got it at this time. We didn't know how much we were going to need it. And as the world changes, like, I find myself wanting it more, needing this space more, looking forward to this space because it feels like an anchor. Um, I know I can show up here and it doesn't matter what's the headline today.
Mm.
I know we only have like a few minutes left, but I'm wondering if folks might shift a little and talk about um, what other potential do you see for this group? Um, and what other nutrients can we gift? Like what else can we gift to others who might want to start something like this? So yeah, what's the potential here? Any ideas that come up?
The silence from my part, and I'm breaking the silence to talk about the silence, is because, I mean, connecting to what I was saying before, I'm not here for an outcome. So it's even hard for me to think, I mean, what do I want next out of this? Because I guess I have arrived in this place in which what we have is good enough. And yeah, I recognize that we are growing. We are maybe not growing, but transforming, like, together and becoming something else. So I believe that that's what I see, the potential or where we are going to. And it's almost like, I don't know, I don't choose to become something, or I want it to be organic and in the flow. So yeah, not sure yet, but that's what it feels for me. And it's just letting it, I mean, organically becomes what it is to become.
I can go next. As I heard the question, I reflected on what Claudia had said, and then I still think there is a potential. Like there is not like a what's next or like a very clear intended result. Is the very basic potential is that we keep doing what we are doing so well. And the second is I truly believe that society is going through so many major changes on the planet. And I'm hearing very different things. And the things that resonate the most to me right now are things that are now transactional. I'm becoming a being that is looking for less transactional things, more communitarian actions. And if you see the advance of AI, I think because at the same time represents a lot of potential for, in general, in the work. They say, for example, productivity. At the same time, it might represent a challenge for humanity in terms of the loss of jobs. And I'm more and more thinking that we will need to call ancestral knowledge, for example, communitarian approaches, and how to learn to live together outside of the transactional systems that we have created. So the potential for ways of living and sharing, like the ones that we are looking, like the ones that these ones that we are experiencing, might be the main tools that we will need in the future.
I think I'm with Claudia here, in some ways. I think on the other hand, the potential is for rediscovering kind of essence. And yeah, and what is the essence? I mean, the essence, like sort of like the essential, like what does it look like, and what does it mean to be together with other people? What does it look like to be present? What does it look like to slow down? What does it look like to like be community focused? What does that feel? What does it look like? What does it mean? Which is, like those, like what you were saying. I mean, we humans have been doing this since campfires, well, even before fire, right? I don't know, however many millennia ago. And maybe that goes back to the theory, kind of theory. I think we would be doing us this service if we were to try to sort of like envision or imagine or like dream up of like, oh, this group in 2 years or 3 years or 1 year, we could do this and we could do that. It can become this and it could become that. Because that basically sends us to the paradigm of like, I mean, I'm generally like of this
Capitalism.
mind of. Hmm?
It turns
Uh,
into extractive capitalism.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I was even broader than that, but like it's I think what I was going at is that we as humans are imperfect because we can only imagine what we've experienced, or like something adjacent to what we've experienced. All right. And so, but what we need as a world, as a society, as a world, especially in these times, is not to just sit and imagine and ideate. It's like to kind of unlock some other power, some other force, that like creative force, that helps us usher like the kind of shift that is necessary. Because like I frankly don't believe that we can usher like the kind of shift that's necessary just by like, I don't know, some people who are like more enlightened or more whatever, more conscious, more self, more developed in terms of like you don't just kind of bring them together like, okay, like you create a blueprint, like you wise guys, create a blueprint for like the next world. Like, I mean, yeah, actually that would be nice. I mean, it'll still be better than what we have right now, but that's not it. And so it's almost like don't plan, like don't imagine transformation, don't plan for it, just like let it happen, right? It's just the idea of uh, the metaphor we always like. It's just like, yeah, you plant the seeds and we don't know what's going to grow out of those seeds. And then ideally, like you mix it up in such a way that like what grows out of it is something you've never seen before. And partially, like, you may have never seen like this tomato. Like this tomato has never existed before, even if it looks like just like any other tomato. So there's something about transformation or like potential being like something very unlike what anybody can imagine. At the same time, very very familiar, right? And I think for that it's just like we just continue being here, and yeah, but go with the flow, ride the wave, that sort of vibe.
Keep riding the wave. I know we're at our time, but I just want to open it up for any final thoughts from people. Yeah, doesn't have to be about one of the questions, but I just want to express my gratitude. I just feel really lucky that Sarko invited me into this, that I decided to retake Theory U those years back then. Yeah, and definitely keen to continue exploring whatever this space is without having it have to be a product or a subscription or something like that. But yeah, I just want to open the floor to any other final comments.
I'm also very, very grateful to have joined this group, and thank you, Dulce, for suggesting that I join. For some reason, I still feel like a newbie, but yeah, I mean, I just, the amount of wisdom that I received from this group is just, yeah, it's very different. I think I don't get that from anywhere else. It's very difficult to explain, but yeah, I don't think we need to have any like set goals and objectives. It doesn't have to be measurable. I think that the value of this group is that we just we don't do that, and then somehow we kind of evolve, as Dulce was saying.
From my side, I would say that yeah, I'm also, I mean, it's so grateful. It feels magical, just like you were saying, that I have you all in my life. Every time that I think that, I mean, it's been 5 years, I say, what? It feels like yesterday. And then I remember that sometimes I tell other people about this, and not often enough. I think that this is something that I should tell more to people. Hey, we have this group, and it's just a wonderful presence in my life. But I remember that one of my daughter-in-laws, Nina, when I told her that I mean, her eyes were like just sparkling. She said, "Wow, I really wanted to have something like that in my life." And I guess they never created their own. But yeah, from her eyes, I saw that also that we had something really special. And one more thing that I wanted to say is that if you are going to get started, I mean, in your journey, maybe you go through something like I did. And for example, when what happened to me was that at one point I thought, okay, we have used this methodology for a good amount of time. What if we change it? And I remember that I was the one that even brought, some different things. Oh my, let's talk about values. Let's talk about something else. And it didn't stick. And then I convinced myself. I said, "Do you know what? I don't want any other methodology for this. This is who we are. So yeah, just embrace it and continue doing this." And it has been wonderful since. And another, I mean, learning journey that I have gone through is about, yeah, just repeat your case. And I mean, Dulce is a great teacher for that. She always
Thank
says,
you.
if one of you don't have a case, I do. I always have a case. So we never skipped 1 month because we don't have a case giver, because she's always up for it. And thank you, Dulce.
My case giver.
Yes.
I agree. Dulce makes me braver to bring cases.
You always can. I don't know. I want to also share. I'm so happy that I met you. It's like you bring so much light to my life. I think this is so magical for me. It's like I just cannot describe how much I feel my heart is kind of exploding now. I am very grateful with you, Meg, that you had this idea to spread the word about these type of connections, because one reflection that I have is that I just took this course in neuroscience to create better results, business results. And then one of the things that they were sharing is like how difficult it is to connect online, and now with the hybrid meetings and etc. And so they were giving some tips, like one of them were like, turn on your camera, show up like your face in the meeting, things like that, And then most of these tips, most of the time, rely on technology, and what we are looking at, what is in front of us, is human based. It's not, I mean, yes, we are using the virtual room, but what the magic of this connection, like, because the main problem that is it happened during COVID, what this course was saying is that people didn't have ways to connect in deep and be innovative and creative and solve solutions. Yes, they could meet for simple stuff, but not for solving complex problems or innovation. You know what? Like, as you were saying, Meg, yes, when we first met, I was harassed. I was living lateral harassment. And I'm in a place where I'm thriving. So I see how this spiral is so like it's growing so much, and I want to just keep more of the same. The only structure that we need is the case-based methodology that was given through the course, and I don't want to change the friends. I don't want to change the methodology. I don't want to change anything. Maybe I could recreate something like this with someone else later in the future, but this one is kind of like, for me, something that I'm choosing as more permanent in my life. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Any last, Akari, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, just a sense of gratitude. And I just can't wait for more and more circles, years to come.
Same. I think my only sort of ambition with this, and the reason I wanted to record it, is because I really think it could be useful for other people. We don't have to go out and teach anyone how to use it. We don't have to do some big campaign, but I really, yeah, I believe that this simple method is just really fantastic for bringing humans together when they're desiring to have some real conversations and maybe they don't know where to start. Yeah, so feeling really appreciative, and yeah, like this is enough. This is enough. So thank you, everybody.
Okay. you.
Thank you, Meg.
Are we
Thank
complete?
you.
Fun.
Are we
All right.
complete?
Dulce, you and I can